especially until people start watching. Wait, we're good. Excellent connection over on YouTube right now.
All right, so we're live.
Well, let me change this title. Buster Faulkner is a traitor. No, I'm just kidding. Buster Faulkner gone. Jolly good fellows. Emergency
Pod.
pod.
First emergency podcast.
Yeah, first one. I was actually thinking the same thing, Patrick. Got
Yeah.
to give credit to Patrick for this idea, guys. Uh, he was the one that texted saying, "Hey, let's do an emergency pod. We're not going
Yeah.
to be on here too long, but
Yeah, we hopped on within 10 minutes and then we just let's roll with it.
yeah, this is not what we want to be talking about at all. I mean, it was a beautiful Thursday today. I was having a great day, man. Work went well, and then now here we are,
Yeah.
offensive coordinatorless. What the heck just happened, man?
Yeah, I had a cold today. I had to work from home, so I couldn't even go into the office, and I sounded nasally. And I get a notification to my phone from Pete Thamel, and Pete saying Buster Faulkner leaving Georgia Tech, finalized to be the OC at Florida to go with his buddy John Summerall, which I forgot they are buddies. They've worked together in the past, but I did not see Buster leaving for another OC job. And
No,
I
me
said that
neither.
said that in the last podcast, guys. That shows how much credibility I have on some of these issues.
100%. No, I tweeted out the same thing literally yesterday. It might have been less than 24 hours ago about, I didn't think he would leave for another offensive coordinator job unless maybe it was like, Kiffin comes calling and he wants him on board at LSU or something like that. But Florida, to me, and a lot of people aren't going to like this, that feels at no greater than a lateral move, potentially even a downgrade. What do you
Well,
think
thinking
about that?
back when the coordinator left to Mississippi State to Florida, Dan Mullen called that a lateral move. When
Yeah.
Jeff Collins, so yeah, I'll call it a lateral move at Georgia Tech. I mean, what coach has done well at Florida the last? I mean, every single one's been fired. I mean, they even sort of ran Urban Meyer out of there. Will Muschamp fired. Jim McElwain fired. Billy Napier fired. Dan, like all these guys fired.
It's a dumpster. I mean, it's a dumpster fire over there, man.
The only coaches that have ever done well there in their history are Steve Spurrier, one of the best coaches of all time, and Urban Meyer, one of the best coaches of all time. Steve Spurrier won at Duke, so of course he can win at Florida. And I'll say I'm not even sure about how good John Summerall is going to do there. I think he's a little bit overrated. He took over two championship programs that were set up on a silver platter. He inherited Willie Fritz's Tulane, and then he inherited Neil Brown's Troy when Neil Brown won back-to-back conference titles at Troy. So I don't know. So what are your initial thoughts on this, though, Jared? I mean, as we're getting rolling.
My initial thoughts are you got to keep your guys, man. I mean, Faulkner is obviously a big loss. I'm not going to try to pretend like that's not the case. There's a part of me last year when Santucci left that was like, all right, um, it is what it is. I think I even tweeted something out about the role that he played in Georgia coming back from 27-13 with 5 minutes to go. And it was like, people like that are replaceable. I'm not going to cope that hard for this one. Honestly, it's just a big loss. I mean, we talked about the red zone deficiencies and stuff like that. And I don't want to call them red zone deficiencies, more like red zone touchdown deficiencies a lot throughout the year. And I mean, those things continue to ring true in the Georgia game as well. But Buster's a great offensive coordinator, man. I mean, people all around the country love to compliment that guy's offense, and for good reason. I mean, the numbers don't lie. Just 2 weeks ago, Georgia Tech was the number one offense in the country in regards to yards per game. So it's a big loss. That's how I feel right now. It's a big loss and a lateral or potential even backwards move for Buster. And I don't know why he did it, but we got to keep our guys. That's where my head's at right now.
Right. And the first thing I think every Tech fan's going to think of, and what I immediately thought too, is Aaron Philo. How he's the next guy in line. I think has a ton of potential for Georgia Tech. We've all seen him in limited action, in the talent, and obviously everybody knows his high school repertoire and how great he was. But there's no doubt that he's got to find a way, Brett Key, to go keep Philo, keep any, like you think of Isaiah Canyon, you think of other guys that they have, because Florida. I mean, this is how college football is now. When guys leave, they're going to go right after Georgia Tech's roster, and
Hmm.
it's not just going to be. I know everybody's worried about Aaron Philo. It's going to be the offensive line. It's going to be the guys like Tana, who's a talented center, Harrison Moore, those guys on the offensive line. So, I it it's a huge loss. There's no way around it. But you got it, Brent. They gave him an extension. They're paying him big money. This is what he's got to do to be able to go find another OC and be able to make sure we don't get our roster poached bad. Especially, I think that starts with number 12.
No, it definitely starts with follow, man. I mean, we'll not burn any bridges here, but I think it's well known just among Georgia Tech fans in general that Faulkner played a big role in, Philo's recruitment. You said it on our last podcast that it was his handpicked guy to run the offense. So everyone, my head, and I'm not taking anything away from this 2025 team because they've been an absolute blast to watch. But my head, as soon as that Georgia game ended, I was telling a buddy yesterday, immediately went to next year. How good can we be next year? And in my head, I'm like, we can definitely be just as good, especially offensively, if we bring back Buster, if we bring back Philo, Canyon, Stockton, Hosley, all those guys. And now, a big piece of that puzzle is headed to Gainesville. So I think you got to keep all those folks, and it's just weird, man. I'm looking at this right now. A couple Florida fans already in my mentions. It's crazy how the algorithm works on Twitter, by the way. Like, I don't see
Yeah.
any of these people until something happens that connects the two, and then all of a sudden it's all even Georgia fans. Like, they've, for the most part, been terminated from my timeline. But last week, you'd have thought I was a Georgia fan with as many Georgia fans
Yeah,
like
oh,
me.
it was terrible last week. Yeah, and I had the same thing when I was scrolling through X or Twitter. I just see all these different Florida accounts and seeing all that. And I mean, you looked at that extension, notice that they put out a Brent Key that like the extension came with guarantees of
Right,
upgrades to staff and
right.
personnel, facilities, all everything that you need to be competitive to win championships. So this is a huge loss. I don't think there's any sugarcoating it. I mean, I'd like to think because you don't know who you're going to lose, and it stinks it's happening right before the portal window opens. You would much rather it happen like maybe in February or closer to then. So let's just
I,
start
I,
throwing off a list. I mean, I don't know anybody put in the chat who they'd like to see as a new OC or some candidates. I think everybody's going to immediately go to Chris Winkie, which would make sense. He's the quarterback coach and he's the co-head coach or associate head coach right now. Is there
yeah,
anybody
I don't
else?
know. I feel like Winky would be a good hire. He's done a great job developing King and Follow, and he's done well at Tech. But I don't even know. This is not something that I have been looking into. Stupid me for not looking into it. But realistically, I feel like when these things open, who do you go get? Especially with this as much parity and turmoil as there's been in college football for these last 3, 4, 5 months. It's been insane. I don't even know what the market looks like because there's been so many head coaching jobs open that good OCs have filled. That who would you go get if you don't hire internally? I mean, is
I
there
don't.
a good G5 guy?
I know that there is an offensive coordinator in UNLV that has a game on Friday in the Mountain West Championships, Corey Dennis. But I mean, that's just saying that only because of his, Tech ties. He's
Right.
coached as the QB's coach with under Urban Meyer and Ryan Day, and then he's a first year OC at UNLV, and obviously under the Dan Mullen there out there, he's put up points, and I'm sure that'd be an easy move for him to come back to Tech. But that's
This guy just
just,
put in the chat Brian Bohannon. I mean, obviously, a
oh,
guy on
I
the
was
staff
no,
right
that
now.
is not going to happen. I promise you. I know that's. I mean, I would.
I'm not saying that wasn't a great hire because I still think it was, but I'm honestly really surprised at Kennesaw State's success this year. They've done well,
Well,
man, and
they
I
have
thought
done well.
I
I
thought
don't.
Bohannon got screwed, to be honest.
Yeah, I do. I'm not saying anything against Bohannon. I just when's the last time he called an offense that wasn't triple option or spread option?
Yeah, we
And
ain't going back to that.
we're not doing that. And I think that Bohannon's great to be on the offense. I think you want to keep him on the staff. I don't know about him as a play caller though.
This guy says I'm gonna bleep the first word. Done with football. We'll never have deep pockets. Never have top recruiting. Buster's
That's a
leaving.
spirit.
Even after Tech matched the offer because the ACC is considered a joke, football is not fun. I mean, a lot of those things are true, to be honest. I mean, it's crazy that he left despite the fact that we matched the offer. I would have, again, it just, I can't make sense of it in my head. Let's try to get inside the mind of Buster Faulkner, Patrick, outside of the conference now that he's going to be a part of, which is widely considered to be the best in the world. Why else are you making this move? I mean,
I
I
think it
don't.
has to do with his relationship with John Sumrall. I think those guys are really close. I think it's one of his best friends.
Are they that close?
That's what somebody was like. I was hearing it through another podcast that I was listening to that were talking about Buster Faulkner and John Sumrall being close, and that was before he even took the job at Florida.
I just yeah. I don't,
I mean,
you
Gainesville. Has
got to
somebody
think
ever
he's close
driven
to
through
Brent Key
Gainesville,
too.
Florida? That place is a hellhole. I don't get why you like unless you're going there to be the head coach. Like, would you rather live in Atlanta or you can live in the entire metro Atlanta area, or you go live in freaking Gainesville, Florida. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's gonna be. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know if DJ Lagway. My initial thoughts is DJ Lagway is going to be gone, and I think that they're going to go try and
I
find a
agree.
new quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of
And I'm,
folks have already said that Philo wouldn't start over Lagway or something like that. First of all,
yeah,
I think he would, and second of all, I don't think DJ Lagway is going to be a Florida Gator here in the next few months.
yeah, guys, look, Aaron Philo would have started over DJ Lagway this year if he was at Florida.
I
Did
just
you
think,
see? Did you see that guy play this past year?
yeah, man.
He
I
was
mean, come on,
horrible.
come on. Yeah, he
Oh,
was a turnover machine, and I mean, obviously a Heisman front runner really going into the season, but didn't
yeah,
really
which was
pan out.
wild.
I just don't. I think that with everything going on there and with how the year went for him, it's probably going to be a mutual separation. To be honest, I think he'd be happy with a fresh start, and Florida would probably be happy with a fresh start at quarterback as well. I mean, again, this is just speculative. No reason for me to be saying this other than it's how I feel, but clearly how I feel is incorrect based off of the fact that we're having this conversation to begin with. Because 24 hours ago, I was saying Faulkner ain't leaving for an OC job, especially not at Florida, and here we are.
Right. I don't know who you go look for. I mean, you have the budget. Like, if you're going to pay Match Buster what Florida was going to pay, that means you have some deep pockets to go find a guy. So I don't.
Yeah, I mean that's a
I
good
think
point.
you go take somebody else from P5. Like, that's been really good. I go look at maybe Duke's OC. He had a pretty good offense this year. I'm just throwing names out there. Duke's offensive coordinator, Virginia's offensive coordinator. Uh, I mean, if you can lure him away, I don't know. I
Yeah, I
say it
don't
all
know
is
either.
fair now. I don't care. Let's go get our guy.
It seems like Corey Dennis and Chris Winkie are the two guys that they're the names that I'm saying the most. I saw somebody say Haynes King too. Let's at least give the guy a shot in
Yeah,
the
yeah. Let's go
NFL
let him
before.
after he has get a couple years in the NFL. I think
Yeah,
that Haynes will
let's let him
have
do
a
his own
job on
thing for a little
Sundays
bit.
next year.
I mean,
T-
it
Corey
would be
Dennis,
good
like
for both of those.
the thing is, I just don't know. Or as Tech fans, and I do this too. Are we saying Corey Dennis? Like, if he did not go to Georgia Tech, we would probably have no clue who Corey Dennis is. Let's just
Yeah,
be honest on that. And I
I
like
know.
Corey,
I
and
know that
he's done a
he
good job.
coached Ohio State for a bit, and you're saying he's at UNLV now.
Yeah, he's the OC there his first year, which is Mullen. Like, they're in the conference championship on Friday, so Tech fans can
Right.
go watch them, scout them on Friday, see what you think.
Well, let's just do our research here, Patrick.
Yeah,
We're live for a
yeah,
reason.
exactly.
UNLV offensive rankings 2025. Sorry if that wasn't an efficient way to Google it. Sometimes I'll see people Google something a certain way. I'm like, you could have worded it a better way. Uh,
We could also, if we get Corey Dennis, we could get Urban Myers to the games. Corey Dennis is married to Urban Meyer's daughter. That's a
yeah,
fun fact for you guys. So
yeah. So Urban Meyer would probably come in as like an analyst or something like that.
yeah,
So,
look, he can run ideas by. Look, maybe we should.
okay,
Maybe that's a call we make. Urban Meyer.
really solid for UNLV. There it looks like top 15 range in yards per game, 463.3 as opposed to 466 for Tech this past year. So really not a difference as far as yards per game goes. Um, yeah, they're pretty solid. Looks like passing is the majority of it. 3,103 passing yards versus 2,456 on the ground.
Still have some balance to him though.
And then, yeah, I mean, that's pretty solid. I mean, if it was his first year as an OC and they're top 15 in pretty much all these categories, that's really solid for old Corey. I think we might should give him a call.
I don't see why not. I mean, he's connections to Dan Mullen and Urban Meyer and Ryan Day. Those are like, if you think of three offensive head coaches in the last 10 years, I think those are in the top five for those three coaches.
And for those
So
Florida fans in my mentions too, by the way, I know it's not been since the 1980s, but let's not forget Tech is 23-9 all time and six, of course, the six ties. Even if you give the six ties to Florida, we still got them stuffed in a locker. So
yeah,
uh, I just don't see a world again other than maybe the conference where this was a good move for Buster. But again, I've got some very very inherent biases in regards to that take. But I
yeah,
just
I do too. So I think very
you're
disappointed in
not going
Buster.
to get an objective opinion here
Yeah,
if you
you're on
came
the
here looking
Jolly
for
Good Fellows podcast, dude. You're
if you
not
came
gonna.
here looking for that. You're in the wrong place. We're willing to match the offer, Patrick. What do you think about that? That's the part that kind of bums me out the most. Like, it's not a money thing. If it was, he'd still be at Tech because we were going to give him the same amount. Is it is it literally just the SEC and, like you said, his friendship with Summerall?
Yeah, I think so. Uh, I'm really unsure. What, I mean, that has to be it. But even if you're going to the SEC, a lot of times I don't think that's net worth it if you're at a Power Five gig and you're getting paid the same. The SEC defenses are a lot. It'll be harder. You have to go play. Florida will have to play LSU next year. They'll have to play Georgia next year. So he'd have to play Georgia here next year anyway. So it's not that different. But yeah, I'm very surprised by the move. To be honest, I didn't see this coming necessarily. So, but this is what we paid Brent a lot of money for. He's got to be able to go find this. He has the resources. He's got to be able to go pick an OC and pick a good one and retain the players because Tech has a lot of talent coming back on offense. I know we lose our quarterback and Malik and Jamal, but other than that, you got to think most of the talents are turning. And besides, so this is a huge, huge, huge decision for Brent. Can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah, for sure. I want to revisit one of these things real quick. Talking about Tech not having deep pockets. Obviously, that has been the narrative for a long time. I'm not going to say that we're sitting on hills full of cash or anything, but I mean, do you think that that is starting to change at all? I personally feel like it is,
Well, we just
but
offered the guy to be the top ranked, top paid coordinator in the ACC. So yeah, I
I
think
felt
that's changing. He already was one of, if not the top, but he would have
we
been
got
even
money, man.
more.
I really do. I mean,
I
obviously
mean,
the Jeff Collins
yeah,
buyout
there's
didn't help.
institutional alignment
Yeah,
from President Cabrera down with Alpert. I mean, they're making an investment in football, man. This isn't just. I know the results on the field isn't all just due to a better coach. I'm sure it has a lot to do that, man. But we got some better Jimmys and Joes out there than we've had.
as a donor, we are seeing money go way up. That's from Braves inside source.
Well,
So
thanks,
Braves
thanks.
inside source. If you're a donor, thank you for
Yeah,
opening your
thank you
wallet,
for.
man. Keep doing it.
It might, yeah.
Patrick, you got some relationship with some pretty big donors at Tech. I mean, you didn't hear anything from them at all.
No, I didn't hear anything from anybody that had like any sort of input this was coming, or like the insiders at Tech. I mean, I'm not saying that they would have. I've been the first person they would have thought of, which was me, but I feel like that I would have gotten a heads up or maybe heard some rumors about it from, some of my people that work within the athletic department or some of my season ticket holder friends or people that donate a lot to the school. But they may have been shocked by it too. I don't know. They're probably head spinning just as fast as ours is.
Oh gosh, this was a surprise, says the donor. It was a surprise, so I guess it was a surprise to them too. Maybe it was just something that Faulkner was kind of keeping on the low for a little bit, and
That's why I think a lot of it had to do with his relationship with Sumrall because it does seem to have happened pretty quick.
yeah.
Like especially with the extension getting announced yesterday, you got to think like, hey, what that? So, uh,
Let's just
I think
assume worst case scenario here, Patrick. If Aaron Fallow were to follow Buster Faulkner down there to Gainesville, and I'm not gonna, I don't want to get into their personal lives or anything. I know they would be leaving some things behind to do that. Obviously, he would be moving further away from his family and stuff like that. So that would be one thing to consider. But let's just say that it did happen, and now you're looking at Grady Adamson and Graham Knowles as in your quarterback room. How would you feel in that situation? Outside of the fact that he's an absolute tower, I think Graham Knowles would be the guy. What would
uh,
you think about that?
I think that you'd go to the portal. I mean, I you have when you have to, you can't have two scholarship quarterbacks. I think they're gonna we have Grady Adamson, Graham Knowles, and Philo right now. Philo leaves. I think you go to the portal and you go try and find a guy that was an established starter somewhere. You can't risk it going in with Graham Knowles, who's done one career pass. I don't know if you can risk it. I've heard a lot of good things about Grady Adamson, in the preseason, and both of those guys, I don't know where they're going to go because you know who recruited them, you know whose offense they came to run too. So I'm not saying they're all going to leave, but I think if Philo does leave, and this is a surprise, but you have to go to the portal, and I think my first call is probably that North Texas quarterback out from coming from North Texas, but I think that you go to the portal. I don't think you go.
Everybody's saying the same thing, man. I mean, obviously everyone's bummed about Faulkner, but it seems like the most important thing among the Georgia Tech fans, and if this gets to the Philo family or to Aaron himself, hear me when I say this. Everyone's upset about Buster Faulkner leaving, but everyone will be okay as long as you're here at the end of the day. So just keep that in mind, guys. We want to see what 12 can do on the flats, man.
Did you know
we
how
know that
miserable
he's pretty
those,
special.
how Gainesville is in the summer when you're doing those summer workouts down there? That'd be miserable, dude. Where are you
No,
gonna
you
go
don't
out in
want to do that.
Gainesville? Yeah,
You don't
that's
want to
how.
do that.
Yeah, where are you gonna go out now? You need to.
Florida weather sucks. Actually, I had a UJ fan flex on me last week. He was like talking about how he was cooler than me because he lives in Florida and I live in Metro Atlanta. Um, I
Sweet.
don't. To each their own, I guess, man. I like where I live, but he was saying that Florida's a better spot. So maybe depending on where you're at. But Gainesville, I don't know about that.
Yeah, but I think Georgia Tech's gonna have to move fast for a coordinator here over the next couple of days. I don't. This isn't a decision that just because with the portal opening up soon, you have a 2 week window really in the beginning of what is it? In the beginning of January, January 2nd through the 16th. So if you do end up losing some offensive guys, man, you got to hit that crap fast and hard, and hope that.
Jack saying he would personally vote for Winky since the guys know him the best. I mean, again, I think that he's 100% going to get an interview, but you got to look outside of him as well. It can't just be one of those things like Ole Miss where you just call up the closest guy, like they did with their DC. But he should get an interview for sure, and let's just see
Yeah.
how that goes, and if let's see what other interest the job gets before we start
The,
making these decisions.
the only thing that worries me about that hire is Winky hasn't called a plays before. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe he did like in high school, like a little bit. I know he coached some high school football back like in the early coaching days, but I think back to his time at Tennessee, he was a quarterback coach, and other places he hasn't called offensive plays at this level. So that's my biggest concern, I think, of hiring Winky. But if they do it and he can retain a bunch of the guys because he has a relationship with Philo and Graham Knowles and Grady Adamson, then I think that you do that. So
Let's let's get some thoughts in the chat here. Patrick's got the headset on. How would we feel about him calling plays
yeah,
this
what do
year?
you guys think about? Actually, does anybody
Let's
out there? I will do it. I'll do it at a premium too, guys. We can invest the rest of. Look, pay me $250 a year.
I was about to say
We'll,
this is a
we'll
budget
invest.
hire.
We will invest the rest in the NIL. And look, I will listen to people. I like look. I would be so hard on
Hey,
myself.
and
I'll be
listen,
screaming at myself, dude. I promise.
225 a year and 25 invested into the Jolly Good Fellas podcast,
Yeah, we can do that. We can.
and he's hired.
I'll get on and I'll take scrutiny from you guys every week about my play calling too. Like you can give me that shit right to my face. It's like tell me what I did wrong.
And listen, if we're all this upset about a guy that couldn't score a touchdown in the red zone, Patrick, I think, could do just about the same thing.
Yeah, we're scoring in the red zone. I promise that.
Oh man, no, we're kidding. It's a huge loss, but I don't. Yeah, just trying to make some light of a pretty crappy situation here, guys. I don't want to beat
Yeah.
a dead horse, man, but this is this sucks for sure.
Yeah,
And I
this
mean,
sucks. Just want to see. We'll come up with a full formal podcast on Sunday. Uh, I guess before we stop going live, Jared, any thoughts on the basketball team last night?
no thoughts.
All right. Yeah, I don't have any either, so I
Said
wasn't
I
gonna
wanted
get.
to go. I said I wanted to go to the game, but I saw that it tipped off at like 9:15 or
Yeah,
something. I was like, "What are
I
we
don't.
doing?"
Dude, I
And
was.
Matt, speaking of Matt, we had him on last week. He made a great post about just the TV slots for these games are just killing the attendance and killing the hype around the program. I'm 27 years old and it's hard for me to stay up to the end of a freaking basketball game. It's
I
twice
did.
a
I
night
was
for sleep.
asleep by halftime last night.
That's
I
what I'm
was
saying.
feeling cold. Like I. Yeah.
It's
Oh
it's
man.
tough. But yeah, not a good Mississippi State team that they lost to, and just pretty disappointing. But again, what do you expect at this point?
But
Anybody who is seeing my tweet with Aaron Fellow, tell me what I got to do to win you over. Tweet. Shout out to all you guys that understand the Blake
yeah.
Shelton reference there.
Oh, all right, Jared. Well, I guess you want to call it a night. Everybody go. Don't freak out too much. Stay calm. Stay calm. But
You can freak out if you want to. I
it's a
mean,
little bit. Look, be fine. There'll still be a team next year. Still be a quarterback there next year. We just don't know if it'll be as good.
one more thing, Patrick, because we kind of touched on it. We just didn't really expand too much on the point. Because we were saying it would have been better for it to happen in February, but honestly, I'm thankful it didn't happen like 2 days ago, right before signing day, because that could have been pretty bad for the class. Not that these kids really don't have the option. You've seen kids back out of NLIs before, but it's better that it happened today than 2 days ago.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm just surprised how quiet it was kept all on the Western Front. I mean, nobody leaked anything. I don't think any of the tech insiders, apparently, according to the donor in the chat, no, they didn't. None of the donors knew anything about it. So I don't know. And it also sounds like Georgia Tech did everything they possibly could to keep him. I don't know what else they can do. I mean, the only thing I kind of thought personally, whenever was, did we offer his kid who committed to Georgia Southern yesterday? That was, but I don't. You don't do that for.
Yeah, he'll be closer. He'll be closer probably now in Statesboro, right?
Maybe.
To,
I haven't mapped out that in my head yet. I haven't gotten that deep into it yet, but I
trying to think
might.
Gainesville geographically.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, both cities, small towns, hot as hell, not much to do, so they'll be closer to each other, I guess.
Well, keep Aaron Philo, keep Isaiah Canyon, keep the offensive line,
Keep
keep
Jordan
Bailey
Allen.
Stockton,
Keep
keep Jordan
Holsey.
Allen,
Keep the
keep
offensive line.
yeah, keep all of them. And honestly, if you can do that, the sting from this will be a lot less than it would be otherwise. If we lose those guys, man, I'm going. I will crash out. You guys will see me crash out on the internet. So just be prepared for that if that happens. Lord willing, it will not.
Well, all right, guys. As always, I guess we'll say go Jackets, and thanks for joining our first, hopefully last emergency podcast for a little bit.
Yeah, it was fun to do the live thing. We'll definitely do that more.
Yeah,
We're gonna
we'll do
sprinkle these
live. Yeah,
in.
we could do live more often. That was fun.
Yeah, we'll sprinkle these in since we're only doing one episode a week now. But yeah, as Patrick said, appreciate you guys, and we'll see y'all here soon.
All right, see you guys.